So the final video before we actually start getting into some mathematics, I will just talk about what resources will be available to students, at least through here, and what resources I'll provide, as well as any sort of assessments. So in terms of resources, I will be taking questions and logic from two books. The first book, or the first sort of set of books, is the one that I use for teaching personally, and that's the Texts and Tests series. Do note that the number in the text and test, or sort of relative color, is of importance. So if you are taking ordinary level, then what's important to you is you want to pick up book 3. So everything in ordinary level maths is segregated into book 3. It is definitely a book that can destroy an entire forest with the amount of pages in it, but it is the only book you need for particularly ordinary level maths. For higher level maths, you were looking for book 4 as well as book 5. So if you're better with colors, I don't really have one here, so just take this yellow as being orange. So the orange book is book 3. Book 4 is green, and book 5 is kind of a light blue. Now, that's not to be confused with Text and Tests 2, which is like a darker blue. This is closer to like this kind of blue that I've written here. The Text and Test 2 series is very much a darker, deeper blue. So that's of importance. Another book I will be using is a book that I've written myself that I have currently in the works. Now, the name isn't fully finalized. However, in sort of everything I write, I call it the complete LC Maths workbook. All it is it's just a book with after I counted about 1,100 questions on all the topics. So this currently is released yet, but I will take examples from it, as well as some of the logic, because a lot of the questions do have sort of good scaffolding between some of the topics. So I will be using those books pretty much interchangeably. The Text and Test series you can get from CJ Fallon on their website or through any sort of schoolbook retailer. As I said previously, the complete LC Maths workbook is still in development. So unfortunately, that's probably not going to be released then until maybe the end of this exam year. So for the students studying it in possibly 2026, 2027, it might be of use. But for students here, it's not going to be sort of fully printable by this leaving cert, I don't think. There are sort of other books that I know students use. These aren't ones I recommend, so there's Active Maths, I think, is one of them. I don't tend to use that one at all. There are obviously others, that's the main one that students keep bringing up to me. As well, I won't be taking anything from sort of any institute notes. So any sort of grind school notes, I won't be taking stuff from. Mostly for the fact that it's probably copyrighted and I can't use it for these particular videos. And also because I'm not a paying student. Now, in terms of assessment, firstly, in the videos themselves, what I would do is I will generally do between 2 and 3 example questions, sort of per mini topic. So that's kind of to put that into perspective. I'm not going to do 2 to 3 topics on algebra. I might do 2 to 3 questions on indices, maybe 3 or 4 simultaneous equations, just so you can have pretty much videos of different sort of variations of questions and parameters. So it's not sticking to the same format pretty much every single time, as I know a lot of textbooks tend to do. One thing I will also provide is I have worksheets in the making, which will mostly be questions from the complete LC Maths workbook that are just in a LaTeX format. And the link for that, so the link to kind of the what I'll call chapter revision questions, will be in the final video of the series. So by series, I mean ways I'm dividing up the course. So for this one, I've labeled Algebra 1 as mostly stuff to do with linear equations. So introducing polynomials, simultaneous equations, algebraic identities, all of that's in Algebra 1. So you'll get a full test on Algebra 1 at the end. So I'm not going to provide a full test of simultaneous equations because that's what the videos are for. So that's all of the admin sorted. Let's get into some proper maths.